Ben & Jerry's, an international political human rights organisation that also makes ice cream, has been dropping big chunks of fudge, cookie dough and brownies in ice cream as far back as the 1970s, a time where if you misplaced your hacky sack, you started a business for something to do, a cultural renaissance, a new way of doing business. Forget the hacky sack, let's change the world. Childhood friends from Merrick, Long Island, New York. Ben Cohen and Jerry Greenfield, both born in 1951. After a period of pursuing individual careers, with Ben trying his hand at pottery and Jerry attempting to get into medical school, the two of them looked to form a partnership. Initially, they looked at getting into the bagel business, but the machinery they needed was too expensive on closer inspection. They opted for ice cream instead. A $5 correspondence course from Penn State offered an opportunity to learn how to make ice cream. This course has an even longer history and has been running since 1892 and is still available today should you be considering turning your dreamery into a creamery. A list of who's who of ice cream bigwigs have at some point been associated with Penn State. With this learn-to-churn experience under their belt, they pulled together their resources and raised $4,000 each and borrowed a further $4,000. In total, they started with $12,000, the equivalent of around $48,000 in today's money. They decided to open their first scoop shop in a renovated gas station in Burlington, Vermont. The shop was an instant success, much to their surprise. They had thought that it was unlikely they would still be in business a year later. To celebrate this, they threw a free cone day, a full day of free ice cream for everyone. Early PR successes included donating 27,201 pounds of ice cream to make the world's largest sundae in 1983, and a mobile ice cream truck called the Cowmobile, a modified mobile home that served free scoops of ice cream during a cross-country marketing drive. This Cowmobile subsequently burned down on the way home. Soon Ben & Jerry's was expanding and going from scoops to pints of ice cream. One of the trademark differences that made Ben & Jerry's ice cream stand out was the addition of large chunks, bright colours and sauces in their ice cream. One reason for this is apparently Ben Cohen suffers from anosmia, a condition that affects smell and therefore can hamper the taste buds. As a result, different textures, colours and richness to the ice cream were given prominence. All this delicious chunky ice cream was becoming a problem. Not for Ben & Jerry's, but for Häagen-Dazs. The Pillsbury-owned ice cream company refused to allow its distributors to carry Ben & Jerry's. This resulted in the two of them being embroiled in a legal battle that resulted in a settlement out of court. A real David versus Goliath moment. However, it appears David was not opposed to playing the role of Goliath later on. According to a Newsweek article from 1993 on this issue, two independent distributors said, quote, Ben & Jerry's and its chief distributor, Dreyer's, have squeezed them out of the business. At least 3 others say they have lost access to the brand after building it for years, end quote. The article goes on to say, an independent, quote, social audit of the company concluded that widespread sentiment amongst employees is that the company does not walk the talk. This may be unfounded and slightly surprising, as Ben & Jerry's implemented a salary system that the highest paid employee would not be paid more than 5 times that of the lowest paid employee, a progressive approach, and reinforces the hippie at heart nature the brand is known for, and they received much fanfare for this. They then scrapped the original ratio and gave themselves a pay rise. Ben & Jerry's was growing rapidly, and the founders realised their own limitations, and began to look for someone to come in and oversee the expansion of the company. They ran a competition for a new CEO. People wanting the job were encouraged to write an essay on why they should be CEO. When asked if they were serious, Ben Cohen replied, quote, definitely. The person we are looking for must have strong commitment to progressive social values and experience running a company our size. There probably are only a handful of people that meet that description, so we wanted to make an open search, end quote. I'm not sure that would be an issue in today's market. Things sure change quickly. Ben & Jerry's ushered in a new way of doing things, and especially for food and drink brands, that have looked to channel an irreverent communication style that many have followed since. The ice cream flavours are creative and light-hearted. Chunky Monkey is much more endearing than chocolate or vanilla. It may be more talk than walk, but it is done so with outstanding execution. Taking big bold steps on topics is also an area where Ben & Jerry's have led the way, and is very familiar to everyone now. An example was in 1989, when Ben & Jerry's came out against RBGH, a growth hormone, official name recombinant bovine growth. This, according to Ben & Jerry's, is a genetically engineered hormone given to cows to increase their milk production. This was approved by the FDA in 1993, although countries including the European Union, Japan, Canada and Australia have banned its use. use. Sounds pleasant. Ben & Jerry's has implemented their own rules to ensure that their ice cream does not use this growth hormone. Their supply chain is made up of cooperatives in Vermont, and they have drawn attention to the consumer's right to know if such a thing is used. Ben & Jerry's has kept things local, despite becoming a global brand, and still operates out of the Vermont area. Local is a part of the brand. There are now more than 560 locations to grab a scoop from, a long-standing franchise system, and seemingly every grocery store and supermarket on the planet is well stocked with Half-Baked and Cherry Garcia, the latter being named after Grateful Dead guitarist Jerry Garcia. I see what they did there. If a flavour doesn't work, rather than quietly pretending it never existed, which is the default approach for most, Ben & Jerry's embraces the flavour failure and came up with a flavour graveyard, a literal graveyard where ice cream flavours that have been unsuccessful are laid to rest. This is innovative from a marketing point of view, shows you don't take the failure too seriously. You can always resurrect a flavour. Ben & Jerry's promotes the resurrection of flavours, with the dead ice cream with the most votes being brought back to life, from head to toe, though if they've been in the ground for a while, they may lactose. Worth considering if you are intolerant. The early days of Ben & Jerry's. Irreverent folklore from a generation of business that doesn't care about money and also cares about money. Being a corporation quietly and a fun-loving hippie loudly. Making a tastier product due to a lack of taste. This upside down world may feel like you're a half-baked chunky monkey, but at least upside down world does have good ice cream. All things Ben & Jerry's. Let me know. Thanks for watching.